Now that we have the eyes added, let's go ahead and make some changes to the topology of our head mesh. So we'll just jump back here into mine. This is where we left off, and if you want to start with the project file, you can start with lesson 06 start for that. You can see that we have our eyes loaded up in here, which will help us do our sculpting around those. So this is a good chance for us to make any changes to the topology that we want to. I think looking at this, it looks pretty good up here as far as the topology goes. There's not a lot that we could change. If we wanted to really refine the eyes, we could, but I'm going to go ahead and leave those. Also the ears, I'm not going to spend too much time detailing the ears. We'll have enough geometry in there to actually sculpt that in. One thing I do want to change though is the topology and geometry around the mouth. Right now you can see that we just have this closed mouth, and I want to be able to sculpt a mouth that's a little bit more open so that we get that lip coming down and able to see the interior a little bit more. And so I'm going to actually create the interior of the mouth, and we'll just do this by selecting some polygons in here, and I'm just going to select this interior sort of two loops here, two kind of rows. I just want to make sure I don't have anything else selected. It looks like we're good. And so now we can go ahead and just do an extrude, and I'll just use the manipulator and kind of scale it down a bit. Okay. We can change to kind of a world axis and move that back inside the mouth just a little. And let's do another extrude. Let's again switch our manipulator and start to push that back into the mouth. As we push it back in, we can start to scale it up, make it a little bit larger. We can also scale it in this direction to kind of flatten it out a little bit. And you can kind of see that if we move inside here, you can see that here. Now at this point, once we're sort of inside the mouth, we can start to take some of these points and manually change the shape. So we're starting to get into the roof of the mouth and so forth. And we just want to create this kind of open area inside here. And so I'll just select some of these points across the bottom and kind of move those down. Maybe these on the side, start to move those down. Again, we're not being too careful about shaping. We just want to actually add that interior of the mouth. Okay, so we can go back and just grab those polygons and continue on extruding. So just making sure once again I don't have anything else. We can go to the side view, which may help us a little bit better. We've got just a wireframe on, but we can come in here and now extrude, and I'll just kind of push that straight back, make it a bit larger. And we don't have to go too far with this because we're not going to get too detailed, but I just want to come in here and you can start to kind of aim it down sort of by the throat and just extrude this out again. And then as we start to get down here, we can start to shrink it down a little bit. And let's just do maybe one or two more. All right. And if you want to, you can go ahead and delete that or leave the geometry in there. I think I'm just going to go ahead and leave it in there. So now we just have sort of an open gap. I want to come in and just bring this first line in here down just a little bit so I don't get a little bit, I want the lips basically to be a little bit thicker, and so I don't want to lose that by having them being thinned out by this edge that's all the way up in there. We'll do the same thing down here. I'm going to take these points right in here and just select those. Maybe one more. I think that's good. And we'll go ahead and pick it up and move it forward a bit. Again, we'll be able to do a lot of shaping in Mudbox, but I just want to make sure that it's not too thin. The lips aren't too thin, because that's going to be a big part of our mesh here. All right. So now instead of having a closed lip with an edge right there, we have an interior for the mouth. All right. So now that we have a little bit of extra geometry in here as far as the eyes, and then we've also changed the topology a little bit, the next thing that I want to do is to actually add the interior of the mouth. So we'll go through that process of adding a quick gum and teeth setup that we can bring into Mudbox in the next lesson.